The discussion right now we're going to be having today centers around one man, and it's centered around Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, for all of you who don't know, is a current WWE superstar who wrestles for SmackDown Live. The man is from Marieville, Quebec, Canada, and he is the top guy in the WWE right now. And there's quite a few reasons as to why I'm saying that. So the whole thing with Kevin Owens, remember, is that he was not considered to be the typical WWE guy. He was not considered to be the typical prototype of what a WWE superstar looks like. As such, people did not see him being signed by the WWE throughout his career. So WWE decided to take a new direction with regards to signing its superstars and started signing a whole lot more what is considered smaller guys, and started signing a whole lot more guys from the independent scene. Even though they took the direction of making their own superstars through the Performance Center down in NXT, they did sign a few guys. Was a few at first, and then ended up being quite a lot more from the independent scene. And one of those guys ultimately became Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens, he was told not to get his hopes up for the main roster. He was told that he should just, he should just understand that this might not last. No, he just probably might, not make it that far. So don't get your hopes up. And he took that as a challenge, because I remember I was listening to the podcast, Talk is Jericho, and he said that, but don't get your hopes up. He was told that not to get his hopes up, but then he took that as a challenge when he was told that, but don't get your hopes up. So now we fast forward a few years later, and Kevin Owens right now is literally the top guy in the WWE, and there's a reason why I say that. So Kevin Owens debuted in NXT at NXT R Evolution, and he beat CJ Parker, and later on that night, Sami Zayn won the NXT Championship. And then while Kevin Owens was congratulating Sami Zayn, this was in 2014, by the way, while Kevin Owens was congratulating Sami Zayn, ultimately turned on him and obviously, proceeded to lay out Sami Zayn, as it were. And Kevin Owens, fast forward about 2 more months later, Kevin Owens would be the NXT champion. And then he would make his main roster debut in the John Cena Open Challenge about shortly after that, to a lot of people's surprise, including my own. Now, what you have to understand is this. The reason why I consider Kevin Owens to be the top guy in the WWE right now, is because after he fully made his main roster debut, after he lost the ladder match against Finn Balor at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn for the NXT Championship, because he lost the championship at Beast in the East in July of 2015, right? And then he had a rematch against Finn Balor for the championship at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, of which he lost, right? So after that, Kevin Owens started becoming a main roster guy full time. Tell me a specific time that Kevin Owens, since he made his full main roster debut, tell me a specific time when Kevin Owens was not on WWE TV. Because from what I can see here, the man has been on TV for a straight 2 years. On every show on TV, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, he's been on every show. And since the draft, he's literally been on every single Raw after that, and he's literally been on every single SmackDown after he was drafted to SmackDown during the Superstar Shakeup. Kevin Owens has been on TV for a straight 2 years. And if you also recall, this is a man who had show-stealing matches throughout. One that comes to mind, actually 2 that come to mind, is the matches that he had with Sami Zayn at Payback, and also the match he had with Sami Zayn at Battleground, which, if you remember watching that, you remember that that match garnered the loudest reaction on that day, right? And it was the one match that everybody saw that, but this was the match of the night. Everybody was unanimous. Us fans anyway, talking from a fan perspective, we were unanimous that that was the match of the night, right? And then obviously he would go on to SummerSlam after that against Enzo and Cass. And I remember I was watching the Owens fight, the Kevin Owens story documentary part, and he did say that that's not where he wanted to be, because he wanted to be to top the match that he did with Sami Zayn. He expected to be in another high caliber match, but then he did the match and teamed up with Chris Jericho against Enzo and Cass at SummerSlam. But now what would happen is that the night after SummerSlam, the first ever Universal Champion Finn Balor would have to relinquish the title because of injury. That opened the door to have a tournament to decide the superstars to qualify to fight for the Universal Championship the following week, of which Kevin Owens was one of them. Fast forward after that, Kevin Owens is the Universal Champion. So one might argue that, okay, the way he won the title, etc., 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 but we're not there. We're at the point where now Kevin Owens, to this day, is still the longest reigning Universal Champion, right? But the mere fact, and if you remember, the mere fact that this guy, he climbed to that point in that space of time, is testament to how good he is, because he is literally that good. And no one can say that whenever Kevin Owens comes on TV, you don't pay attention. Because not only can the man talk, and he can talk a big game, he can back it up. We enjoy Kevin Owens when he's on the microphone because you never know what he's going to say, and you never know the route that he's going to take. And it's always a lot of fun whenever you hear Kevin Owens on the microphone. But whenever he's wrestling as well, the trash talking, the moveset, the sheer brutality, the sheer viciousness that this man displays, and he can also be entertaining as well. This guy also, man, I still can't believe he did this. At WrestleMania, I'm not sure who outperformed Kevin Owens in that ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 32. I'm not sure who in Dallas outperformed him during that ladder match. And there was also the Money in the Bank ladder match recently that he was in for SmackDown. As he did in that Intercontinental Championship ladder match, he took some of the most brutal hits and bumps also in this Money in the Bank match. And guess what? The man was on TV again, still performing the next night. He was on TV performing as well as he does after taking all those brutal hits. For me personally, that just tells me that this guy is tough. And he should be respected because he's just simply that good. He's tough, he's entertaining, he just draws you in from the moment he starts speaking. And right now even, he's going to be facing Shane McMahon now at Hell in a Cell. You're still paying attention to Kevin Owens. Even though he doesn't have a championship around him on his shoulder, you're still paying attention to Kevin Owens because he's literally that good. He's been the one guy who has been on WWE TV every single week since his full debut. I'm not saying like he's the only guy, because I mean that can be argued. But to me he seems like he is the only guy who's been on TV ever since his main roster debut, his full main roster debut. He's been on TV every single week, never missed a single show. What does that say? Not only is this man that good, and he's that tough, but he's just, to me, he's the top guy. Sure, Roman Reigns is the face. Sure, Roman Reigns is like the leader of the locker room and everything, sure. And obviously we don't know stuff about that. I mean, we're just fans. I'm just a fan. But to me, Kevin Owens is the top guy simply because he is in that position. He's stayed up there, and he's been so consistent. His matches are always like, you always watch his matches because you don't know what to expect, and you're always entertained. So I can't wait to see what he does with Shane McMahon at Hell in a Cell, and I'm looking forward to that, honestly. But I just want to go on record as saying right now that I believe, and you're welcome to correct me if you want, I believe that Kevin Owens is the best guy in the WWE right now. He is the top guy. I firmly believe that right now. I'm not saying he is the face, because we know who the face is, and the face right now is Roman Reigns, but I believe that Kevin Owens is the top guy in the WWE right now. And after Hell in a Cell, I honestly cannot wait to see if he is going to be in the WWE Championship picture or not. And if he is in the WWE Championship picture, I can't wait to see what happens when he becomes the champion. Not if he becomes the champion, when he becomes the champion. Because turning on Chris Jericho, I think, also elevated him to a new level in terms of being a heel, because now he was that classic bad guy that everyone legitimately hated. We liked him as a heel, but then we got to that point after he turned on Jericho during the Festival of Friendship where we just literally hated him. You hated him. And then he went to SmackDown Live, and then after that, he was just like, he just had that, you looked at him when he cut that first promo. You just saw that fire, that anger, in his face, and he's that top guy. He's just that top heel in the company. He's the top guy, and he's the top heel in the company, honestly. So, like I said, I'm going to go on record to say that Kevin Owens, at this moment in time, he is the best guy, the top guy in the WWE today. Guy in the WWE